I'm no Eric Rivers to start recording everything. I'm shy.
Well, you don't. As long we're not telling you to do it naked outside in the moonlight and Pintos sauce and dancing or anything. Just some shots from your shop.
2, 1, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars. So, hey guys, welcome to episode 8. And they said we wouldn't make it to episode 8. I mean, we've made it. I can't believe it. And season 1 of the Knives Templars. And it's an exciting week because this week, unfortunately, Chris Jones has had a relapse of BPS, and it lines up with he's a trooper. He's going to be in there. He's going to attend the BPS telethon this weekend, and he's meeting over there with Chris Jones because they've worked up this cool little Cajun Zydeco number, and they're going to be playing on the washboard and the steel bass, the steel drum bass. Third Eye Blind's All I Need Is a Sharp Knife. So let's wish him a lot of luck, and hopefully Chris he'll be wearing that new big medallion he got over there in Texas and on the big chain, and hopefully he will represent well for the BPS telethon and bring in some monies. They are the third-rated act for the telethon, and so we'll wish him a lot of luck. But hey, this week we've got our buddy Odysseus Pinto. Eric Rivers has broken away from his grinder to spend some time with us, and a very special guest, somebody that you'll hear us talk about here and there because he's becoming fastly integrated into the knife-making community, and that is, what's your name? Mathew Rich. Mathew Rich from Colorado, Colorado. And I'm joking there because he's made quite a name for himself here, and he'll talk about it a little bit later. We're enjoying seeing some of his work in the bold line we see coming out on steel. So, Odysseus, what's been going on, man? Hadn't seen a lot of knives here lately, except you pointed one up here right on the video. So what have you had going on the last few weeks?
Well, my friend, the last 3 weeks since we last were together, I had a bit of unpleasant time. Last time we were recording, middle of the recording, I started feeling a little dryness in my throat. Oh. Turns out a little later that I had the kofifi,
Oh.
and I was knocked down for a few days. The following weekend, the Sunday 24th, my father he passed due to age-related complications.
Is he in the States? Is he in the States? Is he in?
No.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
He was 84. So yeah, 84 years old, had a long life, a lot of sons, a lot of adventures. That I know of. There are 14 of us. So he was prolific. So nothing to complain about.
What was his name, Odysseus?
Still Darcy.
Darcy? Last name?
Mm-hmm.
Pinto. Darcy Pinto. We'll dedicate this show to him.
Yeah. Rest well.
And my knife making is related to my mood. So I haven't been able to make a lot of things. I mean, this week I was able to squeeze some time and put that little knife out. So yeah, that's what has been happening.
Yeah, sometimes you just.
Hopefully, coming up this Sunday, I'll be able to start a fresh blade and take it from there.
Sometimes just getting back up on that horse helps bring us back to some bit of normalcy. I read something this week about after you pass that nobody remembers how hard you worked or the things that you did to meet all the tasks in life and this, that, and the other, but they remember your heart and they remember the impact that you had on other lives. And it sounds like your father was certainly a special man, and I can see that in your voice or hear that in your voice as you talk.
Oh yeah. No, he was a really good. Had different wives. As I said, 13, 14 kids that we know of. so so he was yeah, been to many places, seen many things, done a lot of things.
So he was a looker like you, buddy?
Hey man, he raised us right. Everybody's grown and all well in life. So yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm glad that he was what he was, but now his time came, and there is nothing we
it's
can
going
do.
to catch us all someday. But we can
Yep.
see that the person that you are certainly a reflection on what a nice person he must have been as well, because it just passes down. So, well, we're glad you're back.
One
in
of the
Knife
things that a lot of people don't know about Mr. Pinto here, whenever he makes knives, it does, and a lot of us, it depends on our moods and stuff like that. But tell them how you actually make your knife, and how long it takes you to make it, and how long you try and do. Like whenever you make your knives, don't you just 1 week and it's done?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's your thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I usually work on only one knife a week, due to my daily routine at being in the shop, not passing cars for inspection. And
Just so you know, Matthew,
then I
that's
only
how
have
he gets leaf springs to make knives.
Right.
I'm sorry, we've had another car fail due to leaf springs. Damn the potholes.
And then I only have a few hours every day. My biggest chunk of time that I spend in my knife shop are Sundays. Morning until whatever time it takes for me to quench a blade on pinto sauce, and then I come home and continue the process on Monday. So I try to do steps. Mondays usually are hand sanding nights. Tuesdays are usually guards. Wednesdays, handles, and Thursday night usually.
So you're firmly scheduled, like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Next night.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting to this point.
Yeah, because my time is very limited.
Right.
Yeah, but if he doesn't have
And-
any sanding juice in the house, it kind of throws off his
I
throws
gotta
off his sanding.
drive, 15 minutes from the mechanic shop to my knife shop, and then from the knife shop another 15, 20 minutes to home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a glass of sanding juice with you
I-
tonight, Otis here?
Yeah, I had some red, really good one.
Yeah, mine's usually a low carb sanding juice these days. It tends to work well on the aging body a lot better than the full flavored variety of sanding juice.
Anyways, I'll pass the ball either to Mr. Matt or Mr. Rivers.
Let's let
And,
them fight over it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Matthew, you go.
Am I supposed to be doing this? What am I doing with my hands?
I don't know what to do with your hands. You have hands for radio. What have you been doing? Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, shoot, I've been working on sheaths. I've been doing leather, and since
You've gotten quite good at that, by the way. I've been impressed. You can talk about it later or now, but you've really come along with your leather work. It really looks good.
Thanks.
Jealous.
I'm only like 3
My thing
deep.
is usually Kydex, but yeah.
Like this is only like my third one. Like and like this. Well, between this one, I guess it'd be like third and 3.5 or 4. Or I'm doing them at the same time, but.
Everybody out
Dagger.
there on the podcast is enjoying looking at these, by the way.
You like that?
So these are the ones that you will see out on the excuse me. You'll see them on.
All over the workshop, that's for sure.
Yes. But if you want to see Matt Sheaths, you'll see them on the Rivers Experience on Facebook. He does a lot of posting there as well.
Yeah. So I'm only 3 in, and it's a lot of fun. I'm surprising like how well I'm doing at it. I'm starting to find that I'm really liking working with leather. But and I'm taking my time with it. I'm sure I could probably go a lot faster. I probably could have turned these out last week if I wanted to, but between juggling with family life and coming out here and then learning this, not wanting to mess them up and having fun with it at the same token, I love it. And busting out the airbrush and playing with that. Like if you got airbrush and you got leather, the dye is great.
Yeah, I used to paint a lot of fishing lures, and I love taking dyes to leather. I don't do it that often, but when I do it, you can get some really cool effects.
Oh yeah.
When you're airbrushing, are you brushing the whole thing, or just
What I do,
splotches?
you want to do your lighter color first, because you can't go over, you can't make dark light again. So you want to start with your light color. That's going to be like your main body of your area. And then you want to feather out with, your lighter browns, and then dark brown around the edges. So you start with your light, and then you go into your medium color, and then you do your dark color. And then pretty much you're going to be, done after that. So that's how I would recommend doing it. Like if you're going to start leather and you're going to have multiple colors, start with your light color, and then start layering in your darker colors.
I've got a little secret I can't tell you all about, but I've got some camouflage.
I saw that.
I've got some camouflage. Well, I've been doing that with some sponging I'll talk about, but I've got some hard plastic camouflage templates with deer designs. Some are leaf designs and this, that, and the other that I can just airbrush through and feather them in and all, like I used to with fishing lures. So I'm looking forward to that. So it's really cool to hear you are doing that. Three sheaths in,
because sheaths in, and I'm like all in.
You're three sheaths to the wind.
3 sheets to the wind. I'm all in. Maybe 2.
But I'm glad you made me feel good when I talked you out of using that plastic in that sheath, because that dagger that you made was just so gorgeous. There was no way you were going to stick that in plastic.
I tried. You guys wouldn't let me do it.
Tell us that was the easy way. Tell us, and if anybody that doesn't take the easy way, it's Mr. Eric Rivers. So I'm sure he was glad to see you go the extra mile, and then to watch that sheath go together, come apart, go together, come apart, different parts. Now try this part, and then
move them all around.
Oh, it was cool. It was cool. So tell us about that dagger you made. That was cool. You got some accolades for that.
2 months. Oh yeah. It was. It was a love-hate. The first one that I did, hey, I'm gonna try to grind freehand because I use a jig. I use what works for me, and I'm trying to, break away and try to do without the jig, and then I'll mess up terribly. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back to using the jig again, and then maybe I'll get a frog up my, and then I'll go and like, hey, I'm gonna try freehand again. So I'm like, the cards aren't off the table. I'm gonna use what works for me to get done what I want to get done, and then I will practice and try other things along the way. But yeah, so the first one I tried grinding out, of course, here I am, 4 bevels, not 8, but 4, and I'm good at my right hand draw. I'm right hand pulling it on there and put the pressure on my left thumb, and it's going great. And I flip it around to the other side, and my left hand's like, we're not doing this. So that did not work out too great. So I scrapped that one. I started another one, used my jig. Got it done. Ordered my pen like as soon as I knew that we could do this thing. And it didn't show up. The package did, but there was a hole where things shot out. I guess, I used to work in the shipping, so I know like when they're sending this stuff, they throw it in the back of a metal can, right? And it goes on a truck or an airplane or whatever. So I'm sure that, that envelope stopped, but that pen kept going and it went right out the other end. And so then I had to wait for another pen to come, and finally it came like within like the last week, and then I just scrambled to get everything done. I would have hoped to have done a sheath for it by the time of it being done, but that just wasn't in the cards. But now it's got a beautiful sheath. It's done. One of my best friends I grew up with out in Virginia, he bought it from me. So I'm just getting ready to finish it up and probably send it out to him next week.
You sold that thing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
My best friend, my teenage years growing up, we got in all kinds of trouble.
There's nobody I would love that knife more than. Love them more than that knife. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, that's a true friendship, because that was such a beautiful blade. That's one that people will talk about for years. I mean, it was really something else. So
I'm surprised I pulled it off. It's like, wow, I made that.
Well, now you were on the YouTube Viewers Knife Maker Challenge. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And it was, like I said, it was really nice to see someone we know. And you took second place?
I took second place.
Second place.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there's some beautiful daggers in there, and the guy who won first place, that was a beautiful dagger. There's no doubt about it. Like he earned it.
Well,
that's for sure.
I was a little I was a little biased, but okay.
Of course. Yeah,
It's always good to be humble. I liked yours an awful lot. Very, very clean looking dagger. Gorgeous. I love the. Was it brass that you had underneath the inner liner, along with a piece of black or white
black
paper liner?
No, just a black liner.
Okay, black. Okay, yeah. It was just so clean and pretty. It was just a really classy. I mean, it looked like something looked like a knife that could be displayed in somebody's old European looking library kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
nice
guys.
job. Well, welcome to the Knives Templars. Looks like we're gonna have to take advantage of you more because you're fitting right in with this crew. Good job. What are you drinking tonight, there, my friend?
I am drinking a Guinness. Boom.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yes, the little fizz when you open the can.
Pop, fizz.
Yeah, you and I could be best friends because that's my favorite pour in the world. I just don't drink too many of them because it's like eating a whole cheesecake per can.
Right.
but that's definitely a delicious beer.
Hey, it's a special
Eric.
occasion.
Yeah, well, good. Are we your special occasion?
Oh yes. Of
Oh
course.
wow.
Yeah.
On Mother's
My
Day
first-
too.
you guys like my first podcast is with you guys.
Oh, excellent. Well, when your head gets
Thank you.
big and you get real important, don't forget to
I don't
come
know
back
about
and
all
say hi.
that.
All knife makers need abrasives, plain and simple. Here at Knives Templars, we're proud to partner with Phoenix Abrasives. I used to get my belts from another company, but they spent more time on marketing than they did customer service, sometimes taking 2+ weeks to ship my order. That's not the case with Phoenix Abrasives. They're obsessed with committing all of their resources to customer satisfaction. Whether you're using a 2x72, 2x42, 1x30, or something else, they've got you covered. They even carry Rhino wet sandpaper. So go to phoenixabrasives.com/shop and enter promo code TEMPLARS10 for 10% off your next order.
Eric, what have you been doing, my friend?
Man, a little bit of everything right now. I've got, hidden tang build going on. Just finished a few of my other knives. The Tonto, we wrapped that build up last, week or so ago, and then I went into the next build, which is a hidden tang knife with a profile that I've wanted to do for a little while, and I think that the handle is going to come along really cool and look really good. I like doing multi-piece handles, but I like to try and do them, I wouldn't say different than what people typically do them. It's just what I feel like is different, and I think it's going to look cool, and I think that the difference between the textures, the stuff that's going to be polished, and then the finish with certain areas, and then trying to focus on transition color combos and all that stuff. I think that this is going to look really cool, and it's going to have a nice overall tone and everything with it. So I'm excited about it because the blade came out beautiful with the stone wash on it, and everything's super crisp how I wanted it. And then the Mokamegane guard, I think, is going to pop against that dark color with the copper and the 15 and 20 that makes that Mokamegane, and then that green stabilized and dyed burl transitioning into the antler. And I'm going to do something cool with the end of the antler where the pith is. And if people don't know what the pith and the antler is, it's kind of like where the marrow, if you want to compare it to a bone, would be. It's porous. So I've got something cool that I'm going to be doing with the end of it. And I think it's going to be a cool build. And then, of course, I'm working on these little EDCs that I just happened to make on Saturday
those
night.
are so cool. Yeah. That's what happens when you make something cool, Eric.
Yeah. I had a lot of people decide that they wanted those, so I'm gonna be making like 5 of them.
Awesome.
And then I'm just gonna make those 5, and then I'm gonna do a variation of it and do something slightly different that I think people are gonna like too. But yeah, I'm just gonna make those 5. I'm not a big fan of doing bulk knives or batch knives or anything like that. By this point, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. I like my one-offs.
I feel that pain right now.
I know you do. I know you do, because you are making a ton of the same knife, and I know you'll probably get into that a little bit with how yours is going. But I've got that going, and then I this weekend I'm gonna actually kind of break down my more or less my maker's mark process. A lot of people ask me how I get my maker's marks as deep as I do and how they etch like they do and what I use to etch my maker's mark.
Yeah, it's really crisp.
So I'm going to kind of break that down a little bit, show people the stencils, tell people how I get the stencils and how I make them, because it is a lot less expensive than having a stencil professionally made. And then my etcher is a battery charger, so that I disassembled and reassembled in an ammo can with only the necessary things that I needed from the battery charger, and it works like a son of a gun. It'll etch steel a 16th deep, like in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If that, might be even less, depending on how long I'm actually holding it on there, and it makes it nice because whenever you etch it,
12 volt.
Yeah, whenever you etch it, it's 12 volt. When you etch it deep, it makes it to where whenever you are buffing it or anything like that, you can actually, basically it makes it to where you can get a nice dark area into the mark, and
you won't buff it out per se. Yeah,
correct.
Looks good. Pardon me for interrupting you. I was going to say, I've seen these very expensive etchers, and I'm not against them. I mean, I think that they have a purpose. But my etcher came from AutoZone. It's a little plug-in-the-wall battery charger, and I hooked it up on a whim, and it's like in 2 minutes I can etch, like you just said, 6/16 of an inch deep, and using salt water, and I just have not been inspired to do anything else. So I'm going to watch what you do, but what I want to say, so I don't lose a thing, is the evolution, kind of like tattoos. Where did that come from? What's the evolution of your design? That's really kind of cool. You ought to talk about that also.
Yeah, so my maker's mark, a lot of people think that it's like a trident or something like that, but it's actually my little, if you want to call it my art signature, is a reversed E and then a forward R. And what I took was just the E part of it, and that is what I made. And whenever I first started making knives and I first started putting my maker's mark on them, I was doing all of them by hand. So my first 30 knives have a hand-drawn maker's mark on them, and what I would do is I would just put tape on the blade and make a little square, paint it with fingernail polish, let the fingernail polish dry just a little bit, and then take a pencil and draw my E on there, and it would remove the fingernail polish. Yeah, and then you etch it, and it would etch in the maker's mark. So those first 30 knives had actual signature style signatures on them, and I might.
It's so custom. The signatures are custom.
Yes, I might here soon actually put the E and the R on a few different knives that I'm gonna make, and that are gonna be real artist inspired knives. I'm gonna be doing a few of my full ER, and the interesting part about it is whenever I do the art inspired knives, I think everybody's gonna like them whenever I actually do them. Y'all will see what I'm talking about whenever I get to that point, but I'll be doing the full signature on those, and it's gonna be they're gonna be cool.
What was your favorite nail polish or color that you used? It was just something that you used yourself, or what color?
Might as well have been, because it's black fingernail polish. I never really did the fingernail polish thing, but my wife had black fingernail polish, and I tried it once, and then I went to the store and bought fingernail polish, and I still use it from time to time because if I want to full blown write something into a, like, make it look like I wrote it, I still use the that fingernail polish. It's sitting right over next to the computer right now. But one of the I thought about doing one and doing script on it, but I'm going to be cutting a stencil for that one. I'm doing a We the People dagger, so it'll have the full We the People, everything, all of the writing, and I'm going to be doing that. I'm doing a big fuller down the center to where the bevels are only going to be on the outer, like, maybe quarter to half inch of the blade. Almost the whole entire center is going to be hollow ground on a radius platen, and then I'm doing the whole We the People setup, all the script, everything, all the way down the center, all acid etched.
Oh wow,
It's gonna be pretty cool.
I have been watching your builds very closely, and the one that you're making with the hidden tang right now with the antler and the wood and the handle. I'm up to the point where I think you're getting ready to launch the video for maybe installing that handle, but that thing is coming together. It is gorgeous, and you just got really started in making these hidden tang knives. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is my second one.
So what are you finding? And what are you finding as far as the transition over? I know Otis here's there, but what are you finding as far as the transition?
So I personally, before I got into the whole really liking the hand filing aspect of knives, I didn't want to do many hidden tangs because I like to use my 2x72 and using my power tools and all that stuff. But whenever I got into the actually using my hand files more, like where I'm profiling handles with hand files, where I'm doing a lot of different stuff, I got more into the hidden tang because you can kind of sit there and fine tune things and play with them, and whenever you finally get your guard to just sit perfect on your ricasso area, it's very satisfying.
I saw how you got the the shoulders of that blade you had, how you set it down into that ricasso area, and I mean, it just looked like a perfect fit. I mean, it was really some art.
Yeah,
meeting that guard to the ricasso. That
Make
right
it or
there,
break it.
Oh, it's still a nightmare for me, man. Like on this last knife that I worked on, I trashed 3 guards. I had to put it out. I was using some stainless steel, and I just couldn't get it to sit properly. So I scrapped it, everything, and went with a piece of 5160. And finally I was able to make it mate really nice. But yeah, it's a challenge, man. You don't want any gaps left.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it looks good. And then of course we've all got something coming up here in a few weeks. We'll talk about in a minute, but I'll bring that up here. But as far as I go, guys, I tell you what, I am so tickled. I have got my Majestic Forge, and before I get going, I want to tell you a little bit about these guys.
Majestic Forge is owned and operated by Brian and Kayla Horn in Rushville, Ohio. With many years of experience manufacturing 2 to 5 burner gas forges, Majestic Forge is your #1 source for blacksmith forges, farrier forges, and specialty forges. They are dedicated to creating top-of-the-line forges at a price you can afford. Majestic Forge has supplied forges to blacksmith schools, high schools, colleges, production shops, and TV shows such as Mythbusters. And Majestic Forge is the forge of choice for televisions forged in fire. Knife makers are in luck as they offer forges that come with 2 or 3 deluxe burners. Here at Knives Templars, we are sure that you can find a USA-made Majestic Forge to suit your needs. Check out your next forge at majesticforge.com. So
yeah, like I was just saying, I wanted you to hear about these guys. I got my Majestic Forge. I got the 3-burner deluxe, and just so you guys know, they're not going to make anything but that deluxe version in the knife makers any longer. It's got the valves that you can cut on and off. But Otis here scared me a little bit about having to put my tank in a can full of water so it didn't freeze, and not scared from a safety standpoint. It's just like, well, I just need to pony on up and be like a big boy. So I went out and spent $200 on a 100-pound gas bottle that I still haven't filled up yet, because when I got rid of I stored away my wood forge, I set and hardened several knives, so I just haven't had a need to turn it on yet. So that is yet to come, but I am so excited that's sitting in my shop. It's kind of like my golf game used to be when I was a younger man and played golf. I had a $3,000 set of golf clubs, and I looked good going and I looked good leaving, and nobody ever saw my my scorecard leaving the golf course. I just looked like I knew what I was doing. And I tell you what, every time I see something, some guys posted something on Facebook, and I'll see a video and it'll pop up, some guy's pulling a knife out of a Majestic Forge. I'm like, ooh, I'm part of that club. So I'm excited about that. And I dropped a couple lines with our buddies over at Ameribraid, because I'm about 30 days out from ordering my Mastery series, I guess, the Mastery, which is their top of the line, and going to get me a nice wheel so I can do some hollow grinds with it as well. And I've got a few $1,000s to spend on that.
Is that the package that comes with like everything?
Yes, everything
like
except
everything package, huh?
yeah, and it's even got a nice stand. And I'm still debating on whether I'm going with the 120 or the 240. My instinct says would go with the 240. It's just having to run the power to it and everything, which isn't a big deal. So 120 you can just stick in everywhere. What do you guys think? Would you pony up there and go with a 240?
Well,
or
remember,
is what 2 horsepower and 1.5?
So go with the 240. Yeah, go with the 240, because
okay.
You can still wire it for 120, and you can it'll just downgrade or downstep itself. You don't need to get the lower one. Get the bigger one, and then when you plug it into the lower outlet, it's going to automatically drop itself down, so you don't have to do anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you know what? I've already got
that way. Whenever you're ready for it,
240.
you'll have it.
Yeah, I've already got that plug in my shop. And the thing is, this the Mastery comes with. Am I saying it right? Is it the Mastery? Is that their top of the line?
I think so.
I think it's Mastery,
the Mastery
package.
package.
With that particular one, I've already got electric for it in my shop, and it comes with a nice big rolling pedestal. I can basically dance with the thing around the floor, put a little dress on it, and dance all over the shop. But I can plug her in over there. But that was my only thing. So it's kind of like a bass boat I bought one time. I bought it, and everybody else was passing me, and eventually I realized I needed the big motor, not the one that the boat came with at the price you wanted. And Chris Jones, our buddy over he's working the telethon this weekend, as we know, but he always says buy once, cry once. So I think it's probably some good advice. So anyway, that is go ahead. What's that?
That is true. Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, and my leaf spring collection is growing. I bet I have 400 pounds in leaf springs right now. I have my very good friend over at the auto shop here in town. He called me the other day and sent me a picture and said, "You want these?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And so they threw them in the back of my truck. And my wife is now a little upset because there's leaf springs laying all over the garage, and I've got to find a place to either cut them up and store them or take them apart and put them in a rack or something. But I've been quite fortunate there. And I also, do you guys like racing? Race cars?
Ricky Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
You weirdos.
Yeah.
So I picked up some Dale Earnhardt wall clocks and some other race car memorabilia at the shop that day. They just said, "Here, take this too." And so it was a pretty good week. And let's see what else. I have been suffering from I had a COVID test, I had a flu test, I had strep test, and they came back. It was just, we're giving you steroids, and here's a big shot. Here's some antibiotics, and I've been doing that and hacking and coughing all week. But I think I'm coming back to life, and I think the cause of that is just grandkids are the only things that you will kiss on the mouth with a snotty nose in life. And so I love them to death. So I'm sure that it was one good snotty mouth kiss where I probably picked up something. But I'm coming back there. But just in time, because we've got something cool coming up. We've got Blade Show coming up here in a few weeks, and all looking forward to that. I know several of us are going. Are you going, Matthew?
I don't know. It's still kind of up in the air. I know why my wife really wants to send me to it, but it's the whole
Sweet.
The arrangements, the hotels and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was even a shout out to Eric. I'm like, hey, like, you know, like bunk up, you know, I'm sure like stranger danger, you know, like, I don't know, I barely know you, you know.
We all carry knives. We all carry knives.
I'm down. I'm down. If you wanna do that, I'm down, man. If you want to come through, I'm cool with getting we can get a good size king bed and cuddle.
Yeah.
No,
I can take some pictures for you. You can put on your cover
I'm
photo
down.
for YouTube.
Yeah.
You can get the views. You can hold that blade just right. You can angle it. You can get the posterior just the right angle. Well, there you go. There's your 12 million views, buddy.
I'm not into knife boy cuddle time, but I do have the ability to get a two queens. So if Otis here, if you're going to come down or anybody's coming around, I'll share a crapper with you, but I'm going to put you in your own bed.
I'll share a bathroom. You hear me fart, and we'll get some dinner. That's about it. Yeah.
I'm planning to come as well, but if I do, I'll be bringing the family, my wife and son.
Oh, that's cool, Otis here.
Heck yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
So right now I'm been thinking about it, you know, feeling bad this week, so I just haven't really had the energy, but I've been thinking about coming up with a nice shirt design so we walk around that place, people can go, what is that? Who are those guys? But we'll have a nice little code on the shirt that somebody can come up, and when they take our picture, they'll have our QR code and they'll take them right to the our podcast. But still thinking about that. I'll talk with you guys later about it. But yeah, we're all going to be at Blade Show, and we're hoping that Eric and Joey and Chris are going to slide around Interstate 20, and I'm going to jump on around Birmingham, Alabama, and be able to enjoy those adventures on over to Atlanta.
Come pick me up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a knife to bring it and just walk around with it. Here you go.
Maybe we can all do some horse trading. Eric, you've been to Blade Show before?
I've been to the Texas one, of course. I just haven't been to the Atlanta one.
Yeah.
And whenever I found out that
I drive right by
was
there.
Going, I was like, yeah. Oh, you do? That's cool.
Yeah.
I was looking at the area and trying to scope out hotels and stuff like that near it. If possible, I'd like to stay at a hotel that is like walking distance from the event, because the last time I got stuff each day, and I just had to keep walking it out to the car, put the stuff in the car, and then go back into the show, and then walk more stuff out to the car. Right. So I wasn't walking around with like 4-foot pieces of steel and all the materials and all that.
Well, I'll tell you, where that's right off of 285 in Atlanta, I drive around there at least once a month to my workplace over in the North Atlanta area, and it's not a terribly bad place to stay. I've stayed in worse places, but I typically, there's a Hampton Inn or something close by there. I always like a place that's got a inside entry in that part of town, so it just makes it a little bit nicer.
If
the sheets aren't as sticky.
The guys, if the guys do actually say yes that they're gonna go, then I'm bringing the van. If they don't end up going, I'll probably be taking the Porsche. So I will need something to where I can park that and be safe with it. Yeah. I would prefer if I had a black 78 Trans Am and a cowboy hat with a big feather on the front of it, and sitting there eastbound and down, rolling up and trucking.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah. I did that one time. I drove out to, I don't know if I mentioned you guys, I lived in Louisville, Texas for a short period of time. And my folks had transferred out of there when I was in college. And I had a black Trans Am at the time. And when I left North Carolina and went down and hit 20, I was smoky all the way across that 20. And I got to a little place in Louisiana one time. One of the first times I went there, I told the guy, I said, how far is Dallas from here? And he said a mustard sandwich and four beers. And I don't know if that's a common joke these days, but it freaked me out enough. I just kind of moonwalked. I was the first person to ever moonwalk back out to the car and took myself on to Texas. And I think it was about 4 hours away. So however far that is from from Dallas over to where I guess that's Shreveport or that area over in there. But yeah. So I guess if Smokey was still alive today, he would probably be driving a Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun car.
Yeah, I bet it is. I looked it up.
It sounds like it. I watched that muffler video the other day. This is without, and this is with. I'm like, oh shit.
So you live in Colorado.
Yes.
You don't have any moose there. Do you have any elk where you live? Are you not high enough up?
I don't see elk down here where I am at, but we do have elk up in the mountains. Yes.
Now, where are you at in Colorado? So everybody can look it up real quick.
I'm in Longmont. I'm like 20 minutes away from Boulder. Boulder. So I'm about maybe an hour from Estes Park, or give or take, depending how fast you drive. But Estes Park up there, you go up there, and it's a good tourist spot. You go out there, you're like in the middle. You got the Stanley Motel.
Sweet.
And the parks up there, Did
you say Longline?
Longmont.
Longmont.
Yes. Yeah, just northern Denver in that area there.
Oh, okay. All right, you're in the Denver area then. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're kind of down in the valley?
Yeah, kind of like on the flatter, kind of further away part, But I mean, the view of the mountains from here is beautiful.
I saw the pictures that you showed. Now, I grew up in North Carolina, and we've got the highest part on the eastern seaboard over there is you've got Mount LeConte, and then you've got Mount Mitchell and Klingman's Dome. And when I used to backpack places, I used to go, but. So 6,000 feet looking down looks pretty dang cool. So you've got some 14,000 footers over your way, don't you?
Oh yeah, we got some. What's
it like?
Mountains.
What's it like standing up there on top of the world?
A little thinner, and the view is great. It's it's definitely breathtaking just to be able to the scope of here you are you're a little ant, and you're on the top of this anthill, and you're looking down. And you're like, wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and you've got cougars that can eat you and all that other good stuff, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I've heard stories of the guy got in a fight with the mountain lion and while he was jogging and kicked his butt and survived the encounter. And that's just like crazy. Like, way to go, you. Like, dang, dude. I don't know if I would have been that lucky. Of course, I wouldn't have been jogging either, because I don't run unless something is chasing me. Yeah. That's just me.
Hey,
It's a beautiful
Eric,
area.
I was gonna now you're in not Waco. You're in
Wichita Falls, Texas.
Wichita Falls. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So you're about 6
Just
hours from
south
Colorado.
of the Red River. Yes,
Okay.
and so for about 5 years straight, I went to Keystone, every year. And snowboarded. So we'd fly into Denver and then drive over to Keystone. And it's beautiful because you have you're from most of that drive you are next to rapids the entire way, and it's beautiful. Two of the nicest areas I've ever been were Keystone, Colorado, because you could go up into the mountains and then just basically take like the lifts all the way across as you go and go to different areas around the mountains and stuff like that. And you get to a point to where you're just in the middle of mountain range. No matter which way you look, it's just peaks, peak, snow everywhere, and beautiful, hard to breathe. And that place, and then Washington. You know, we would fly into Seattle Tacoma airport, and then go over more inland than anything, and be up there in the apple orchards and you know all that stuff, and where all the ales are made. And we'd hang out there for a week. So yeah,
You've got a life story to write some days, man. It sounds like you've done some really cool stuff.
I've been blessed to do a lot of really
Yeah.
cool stuff and work really cool jobs that send me places. You know, my previous job, they sent me there. They paid for everything. I got to go to Washington twice a year and Colorado once a year, and they paid for all the snowboarding, all the, you know, the vehicles that we drove. And they would take all of the managers and the whole company, be about 3,000 of us, and bring us to areas for, you know, their whole thing was, it was all about management development, and they wanted us, everyone, to be on the same page, and everyone to have a relationship with each other. Yeah. So, and they would isolate us. So that was the whole point, is they would take us to Keystone. They'd buy out every hotel, every cabin, everything. So pretty much it was just us and the few people that ran the city. But we were isolated. It wasn't like, okay, we're done for the night, we're going to go home. It was, well, guys, y'all better just get to know each other because y'all are the only people here. So it was great events, though. I loved that company. They just did not pay me enough.
I've had an experience like that as well. Somebody just really just loved the atmosphere and the environment, but it wasn't fitting that one need you had there. So, how's the pot growing community doing out in your neighborhood there, Matt? I mean,
they're thriving.
Yeah,
they're doing great.
Yeah, everybody relaxed, enjoying life.
Yeah. I've been known to relax and enjoy life every now and then. Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that, but I guess different part of the world, and just I have to experience that someday. Not necessarily the smoking part of it, but just haven't experienced that lifestyle. Has it changed Colorado much since all that happened in the last decade, or
no? Just
a few different stores here or there.
No, the stores go up and people are just getting it legally instead of illegally.
I see.
I mean, you're still going to have stupid people doing stupid stuff no matter what, if it's legal or how they get it. They're just going to do stupid stuff. So,
just a lot more happy people just laying around in the parks,
I would hope so.
Eating Doritos.
I consider myself a very happy person.
Yeah.
I would probably, go to the park and eat some Doritos with them and just chill out. No, I haven't noticed. I don't know. I mean, I'm from California, and it's
everything goes there too. Hey, yeah, I was going to say,
and it's there too. And I think they did it around the same time or something I don't know, but
and Washington,
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So. I don't know. Like, people are going to do it or going to do it, regardless if it's legal or illegal. So the stupid factor is still the same no matter what. It's just
I don't judge. It's just interesting. I live in Alabama, and we shut down the state to go to church on Wednesday nights. So just so you know, to put it in a little different perspective. Matter of fact, don't drive through here on a Wednesday night when you are coming over to go to Blade Show, because everybody's out at heading to church and just be backed up all over the state. So.
My wife has family out in Ness, Kansas, so we went to go visit, and it was like the town is so small, like it's shut down. Like at 7:00, it doesn't matter what night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 7:00. I mean, there's no car on the road, everybody's home, and you can't find nothing.
Yeah,
like everything was closed.
Yeah, no, that's small towns for you. We have towns around here where a water main bursts, every restaurant and every business closes. One water main, whole town. Like 60,000, 70,000 people just stay home.
Boom.
Until it's fixed.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I would like to live in a place like that, small town.
Yeah.
I don't know. I grew up watching movies, about small town America and, different things and whatnot. And, I have that kind of romantic idea of small
Like
towns,
full of pink houses and you and me.
Slowing
Americas
down,
and stuff, Colorado or Kansas or whatever, right? Small little cities.
Lots of pink houses and you and me.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what have you? So you've been working on these full tangs, or excuse me, hidden tang knives, and somebody asked me this week to let them know if I was going to make a folder here in the future, and I've been considering it. You guys, anybody here ever made a folder?
Nah, I'm actually scared of folders. I carried a folder for a longest time until it kind of the locking mechanism failed and it closed on my fingers.
Oh, crap.
Luckily, I wasn't stabbing something really hard. But if I was pushing, if I was thrusting really hard, it would probably split my right indicator in half.
Yeah.
Because that thing closed,
Pinch right
and
on.
I was able to pull back just enough where it made a little nick on my joint.
I saw one of the guys on
It
the
was-
Rivers Experience on Facebook is made one of his first friction folders, and I don't have time to even go that far right now, but I've gotten really thinking about I wouldn't mind trying something like that coming up in the future, but didn't know if you guys
So,
had any expertise
I
in
am.
those.
Yeah, I plan on making a couple of friction folders this year. So after the shop gets done and I have the space to actually think through things, I'll be making a smaller friction folder and then one with a 10-inch blade. And
Oh, wow.
so it's going to be a good size friction folder. And then I'm actually going to be taking one of my Leatherman tools, the main one that I use every day, and I'm replacing the stainless steel blade with a piece of I've got a piece of 26C3, the one that I made the chef knife with the Tasmanian myrtle handle. People use it for like razor blades and stuff like that. So I'm going to be making a replacement blade for that knife because that knife doesn't stay sharp at all, and I use that multi-tool all day every day. So I'm actually going to replace that blade with that, and I'm gonna make a video about it. You don't really see many people actually make the blade that they're going to replace it with. So y'all will get to see that here in about a month. I'll have that.
I've got a friend
going.
that's challenged me to that.
Have you file tested the hardness on that multi-tool blade?
So
Sure.
in about a month, y'all get to actually see the process of me making that. And yeah, when it comes to the hardness on that one, it's around 50 HRC on that.
I would venture to be less.
Yeah, well, my files that I have, the 50 catches on it, and my goal is for the blade that I'm putting in that with that 26C3. I'm only tempering it for a little period of time. My goal is 61 HRC on it. That's the I want it a little bit on the hard side because I don't use it as any type of prying, and the blade is only 2.5 inches long. It's not meant for prying. It's not going to be used on anything that
It's a pocket knife.
61.
Batani.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pocket knife.
And it's protected, so if I do drop it, it's got a whole shell around it. So I want to go on the harder end. And every once in a while, I make knives that are in that range. Anyways, I'll make a knife that the edge is 60 to 61, and then I'll blue back the spine. That's something that y'all really don't see very often because I don't show that process with me putting the edge in water and blue back in the spine and leaving the edge a little bit harder and just having the spine down to around 40, 45. And it's worth it, especially on like some 1095 blades where you can get them freaking crazy hard to where it is unreal. Like you can get like 67 Rockwell on them things and sometimes higher, but on this particular one, I plan on leaving it about 60, 61, and I want to be able to cut through all the cardboard boxes.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned doing that, because repairing a knife, because I've got an old case knife that's damaged, and I was actually going to disassemble it, cut the pins out of it, and just try and recreate all the parts, buying the appropriate thickness steel and just more, I'm getting ready. I sold a knife today, and so I'm getting ready to buy a bandsaw and make a table for it. Mathew, thank you very much for sending me over your plans for the table, and I've been watching some videos. I'll talk about it in a second, but I wanted to try and recreate that blade and make it as tight and to the spec and as well as I can do it. And I know a lot of those things are stamped out and this, that, and the other, but see just what I can come up with. So that's kind of the direction I was going to go, rather than try and design something.
No, that sounds good. So you're just using that as a template, and you're going to build your own off of.
Yeah, I'm basically going to take all the pieces apart and trace them. And my first attempt to take something I know that works, a case knife, beautiful knife, and try and recreate it, probably with some bone scales on it, and go from there. But if I can do that, then I know I can start growing from there. Probably won't look all that great. It won't look bad, I don't think, but it's a good place to at least start, because you can see something that's truly engineered rather than trying to engineer it and design it yourself. So, and I think the one thing is being able to make the steel springy, to temper it properly, choosing the right steels to make it springy. I've got to do some experimenting and learning and watching some videos and reading up on that. So I'm sure I'll run into some roadblocks, but that's one of the ways we get there.
I got an ebook that I downloaded from my teacher, and I can share that with you later. It covers a lot of steels: 5160, 1095, 52100. A whole range of different carbon steels.
Oh, that's cool.
The most used ones.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And
it's one of the things that I was going to mention on that. There are a lot of really good books out there and a lot of really good forums. A lot of people, they don't think about the books near as much. They'd rather watch a YouTube video or something like that. But whenever we say heat treating recipe, a lot of people, they don't think much into it. But if you're shooting for particular Rockwells on your blades, you're shooting for particular spots within hardnesses. If you get a chance and you look at like the Pops 8670 chart, they have one that a guy sat there and took everything down, all the notes, all the stuff, and made a whole chart about it, to where if you get it in and you heat it all the way from 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 10-minute soaks, your soak time, which oils you quench it in, all the different types of oils that you would quench it in, and then within each one of those, the tempering cycles, whether you're tempering at 200 degrees, 225, all the way up to 400, 500 degrees, to get your exact hardness that you're looking for. Those are the recipes that a lot of people don't think about. And typically whenever we're doing the YouTube videos or we're explaining these things, we're giving y'all the most general heat treat recipe, because trying to get people who have just built a forge out of a torch and 2 fire bricks, and they're going to try and heat treat something, trying to get them to get a 1525 degree soak for 5 minutes so that they get the right heat penetration. They make sure that the molecular structure is where it needs to be, with all of that, just all the fancy words that we throw into, all of that stuff adds up to a result. And if you're actually wanting to get into this process and make quality knives, you really need to do your research and read the books, figure out the recipes for what you're trying to achieve, and try that out. Because, you one of my biggest pet peeves is people telling people that they need to start with 1095. And even though you can heat treat 1095 in a forge or in a coal forge and do all that stuff, to maximize what 1095 can be used for, and to get the right levels of hardnesses and stuff like that, you need to do soak times. You need to make sure that you're following the right recipes to get a nice silky structure on the inside, and then get an appropriately hardened blade the way that it needs to be, to where you don't end up with these little areas that some people see where they will heat treat, quench, temper, then they go and acid etch their blade, and they realize that it's splotchy because only portions of the blade are, there could be a 5-10 Rockwell difference between sections of the blade, so they'll etch at a different speed than the rest of the blade, and they're wondering why they can't get rid of the splotchiness. It's because you don't get the soak times, you don't get the right penetration for your heat and even heat and all of that. But we try and tell people all the time, read the books, do the research. It's sometimes it's not your thing, but if you want to do it right, do it right.
Yeah, winging it is an aspect of getting there, but become a master, you've really got to use all your resources. But you said something really important there at the beginning about going to Pops, because we put that schnitzel all over everything. So let's take a break and let everybody hear what Pops has to offer.
Pop's Knife Supply was started 40 years ago and is owned by 4 professional knife makers. Andy Roy of Fiddleback Forge, Alan Searles of W.A. Searles Knives, Joey Berry of J.B. Knife Works, and Dirk Lutz of Dirk Lutz Knives make a great team of owners carrying on the traditions and business started by James Poplin. Over 4 decades in business is a testament to the best customer service with same-day shipping on weekdays. Pops only charges actual shipping, and any shipping differences are refunded on your orders. Everything you need to make knives, from grinding, steel, pin stock, heat treating, and more, can be found at Pops. Visit them at popsknife.supplies. And now, back to the show.
So, I was over in Atlanta this past week, and week before this, and I stopped by Pops and just kind of walked in and shopped around for a little bit and bought a few things. Didn't tell them who I was. I just wanted the regular customer experience. I want to tell you that's one heck of a great place to go. And if you're ever in the Atlanta area, always stop up at Pops on the north side of the city, and it's a wonderful, wonderful store to visit. It's but they've got a mega amount of everything that you would ever need. You could make a lot of knives coming out of Pop. So guys, go visit them, and certainly see them online and buy their products. Great service. So I'm getting back to you, Eric. You were talking about we really need to get in and read and get that knowledge, because a lot of us, I think it shortens that learning curve. I learned a lot watching yours and others' videos, but I've caught every bass in the world twice, and I've read that many bass fishing books too by some of the masters, because these are the ones that paved the way for people to become, in my case it was better fishermen at the time, but after a year and almost 2 years of this now, I'm actually starting to read more. And I tell you what, it's nice to be able to go back to those as reference materials, and also to kind of go back as a specification and checks and balance as you are painstakingly learning to become, I don't want to use the term master, because a master is a designation in knife making, but certainly someone that's very good at what you do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those processes, this is all a learning experience, and you could go back and watch my videos from a year and a half ago, and again, I'm doing a lot of generalized stuff, and it's just, even then, I was still new to it, and I was still trying to figure out, the right processes for stuff, and once I actually started doing the research and figuring out where I need to be within everything, I then started practicing the heat treats, where I'd rough grind out some stuff, and then heat treat, snap test, heat treat, snap test, heat treat, snap test, and start looking at the grain structures on stuff. And I'll tell you, I'm doing as good as I can right now with my forge, but I cannot wait to get something like a Paragon or an Even Heat, and like Matt has. and get that heat treating oven, it makes, you can dial everything in. You can put all your steel and get the right heats to get it exactly what you want to do. And I love that that particular tool. I mean, what's your experience with that so far, Matt? How have you liked it?
It's been great. Yeah, it's been great. It's just definitely a set it and forget it. Like for me, the only problem I have now is when I'm doing other projects, like I don't have the alarm for it. So I don't know, like when I'm doing my soaks for 7 minutes, I'm pulling it out, sitting hanging. Like sometimes I'll sit like an extra minute, which I'm sure is fine. But I don't hear it, and I look at it, and it's like blinking. I'm like, okay, how long has it been blinking like that? So I got an egg timer, so that's a separate thing. So it's not like I set that for, and they, so I can hear it. I'm going forward, but yeah, no, it's been definitely great. I love it. I love it. I totally love it.
So did you get the one?
You started with that, right?
No, I started with a forge. I got that for Christmas. I kind of planted the seed, and the wife poured water on it and got it for me, and then everything snowballed from that point. But what happened is that when the stimulus started hitting, when that second stimulus check came around, I'm like, let me use that and invest in me. Let me use that so I can invest in me and get this thing, so that way I can try other steels. That way it opens the door for me from 1084, and I can start doing the other things. So that was the decision on that. And then the first stimulus for me was the 2x42 grinder from the 1x30. But that's another thing. But the even heat, I would recommend it. I got a 110, so it takes a little bit to get started up and going. But once
what grinder are you using right now?
I have the 2x72 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what is the brand? And I see that Eric popped off. He'll come back on in a minute. What is the brand of heat treat oven you've got?
Even heat.
You do have the even heat. Did you get
like
the upgraded version where they say you don't get all the popping and clicking, or?
No, I got the K18, 18-inch 120. It's the run of the mill. No bells and whistles.
Yeah.
And
so it does a great job then, I assume. I have not seen anything that's come out of your ovens that you've gone out and put out that looks bad. You really did it right. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm getting ready to get my grinder. But I would say just behind Eric, and he'll beat me by a year, I'm sure. But maybe sometime next year I can look into possibly getting a heat treat oven. But it's I think that's really neat to see. We've seen a lot of really good knives made with basic tools, and I think that needs to be taught to people. But in the time that it appears you've been making knives, having a lot of the right tools has given you a big advantage to being able to reproduce your results, get this quality that appears in your knives. So yeah, it's really neat seeing somebody that's got the right equipment. So I always just assumed that you were a Richie Rich, and your parents lived in the Stanley Hotel up on the hill or owned it, and you wanted it, you got it. And I also didn't realize. I also didn't realize you was an old dude like me. I've got you beat by 15 years, so you're still young.
Yeah,
man.
so I'm not that old. Yeah, no, we did the apartment thing for a while, and then we moved into this house. My old man and my stepmom were looking to retire, so they moved into the basement. It's a finished basement. It's got a bathroom or whatever, so they got an apartment downstairs. So we decided to go get a house together, and so then we got this garage.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, now I can finally, all the Forged in Fire I watched, and and growing up with the, Dungeons and Dragons and the pop culture stuff that we're all, He-Man and Conan and all that stuff, kind of like pushes that direction, but never really.
I'm sorry, I was Ultraman and
Ultraman.
Wild, yeah.
Voltron. No.
Yeah, I was 20 years behind you guys. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's.
But you said you were He-Man.
Oh yeah, totally.
I'll have to send you some He-Man
back in the day
themes.
Now I'm just the Cake Man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No He-Man. No.
So yeah, really cool tools, and so Otis here, you're using the Origin Blade Maker stuff. What type of forge are you using? You said isn't it one that you've made?
It's an unbranded one from eBay. Had it for some time now. A two burner.
Yeah.
Made some modifications, and I mean it's been working fine. Everything that I did so far came out alright. One thing that I'm gonna tell you about this gas forge is that it's really easy for you to burn the tip of the knife.
Well, it is in a coal forge too. It's exceptionally easy in a coal forge because your tip
it's extra fast.
Well,
it's extremely fast on a propane.
Yeah, but in a coal forge,
because when you put that in there,
it goes red real quick. Yeah,
and if you leave it over, more than a minute in there without moving it and checking, by the time you quench it, that tip is gonna go like.
Well, see, that's the issue with the coal forge is a lot of times those tips will get hidden in there. So you're trying to manipulate that piece of steel up and down where you can keep an eye on the tip, and then your temps. I mean, your blade's almost different colors all over it the whole time, and you try and get it as uniform as you can, and then quench it real quick. Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling that I'll see an improvement in that. But somebody else told me, said watch your tip and one of those also, that you can ruin the tips of your knives. And
I had a few where after the knife was done and I neglected to test the tip after the tempering cycle. And there goes the tip, and shit, I had to restart, right? Regrind, the reprofile everything, and then retest that thing, because about a quarter of an inch there was over the temperature, and I ruined a couple of blades. Now, I don't know if you remember, a while back I posted a couple of videos on Eric's Facebook page where I'm stabbing a piece of wood with a kitchen knife, and I'm bending it and trying to break the tip just to make sure that I didn't went over the temperature. I mean, so easy, so easy. But coming to heat treating, most of my blades, I mean, this last one that I did a full hard blade, so it's an even color, spine to the edge. But most of my knives I do that differential heat treat. Mm-hmm. I will go for a very hard edge and a soft spine, so it kind of leaves a natural hamon in there. Mm-hmm. When you etch it. So I mean, you can't really do a lot of soak time when you're doing it, otherwise that line will go too high. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things, man. Knife making it's
well, and what's the average length for your knives?
Because you can do so many things, so many effects. I just saw Tyrell when he was etching one of his knives, and accidentally he had some mineral oil on top of the tank, and the way it came out from the edge, that looks absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna have to have some accident with some oil in my tank too.
I'll make a tank just for that. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're talking about the forges, though. I saw you'd mentioned you got one off of eBay, but I was watching a video with Walter Searles was relining one of his original forges that he still uses. It says so in the video, and it looked like Death Forge. I mean, it looked like it was an old cylinder of some type that had been turned into a forge, but. They don't have to be all the most beautiful, most, off the shelf looking, as long as they can hold their heat and give you the right.
Mine is just fire bricks.
Yeah, and that's
fire bricks stacked up.
Function over fashion.
Exactly, and I will tell you that what I like about what you do, Eric, is that you have the ability to set up whatever configuration you need by what you're going to stick in it. You're just stacking bricks and going at it.
Yep.
Under a tent.
Whatever size chamber I want.
Speaking of changing things up, though,
one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing that I'm going to recommend that you do, Chip, is get yourself a high temperature thermometer.
I've already ordered.
And a long cable.
Yeah, I've already ordered one.
And since you have a 3 burner, I would actually recommend 2. So you can put one in between. Yeah. Each burner, So you have two probes, one on each side like this. I would put it across.
I probably won't ever use
Right?
more than one or two burners at the most.
Yeah, but
I hear what you're saying.
if you're gonna try to do some temperature controlled kind of deal, you're working on an 80 CRV2 or something that it requires a soak time at a certain temperature. You can actually regulate your propane to put just that amount of heat, and then you can hold in there. I've done it before. I said I work with some stainless before, even I'm on a propane, and if you have that little thing there, you can hold your temperature. It's going to oscillate up and down a little bit, but you can pretty much dial in the temperature that you want and hold it there.
Right.
Since you have a 3-burner, I would recommend 2 thermometers, one on each side like this.
Offset, yeah.
And so you can see the temperature exactly what it is.
Well, I'll get there. I have ordered I haven't ordered that. I ordered the handheld one that so I can check my temperature on my forehead and also in the forge like Eric has got.
No, I highly recommend you get a.
Yeah,
a
it's all part of a growth process, but I don't disagree with what you're saying at all, because I think what I'm moving into more is more reproducibility. So that I understand the science more and more. And we all come up, those that become good knife makers and the ones that beyond just the art and the beauty of the outside, because knives can be gorgeous on the outside and the inside they're not. That's the part that I'm moving into now is being able to reduce, and I'm not the kind of guy that wants to go snap a bunch of ground knives just to see what they look like inside, but I'm getting to that stage where I'm going to have to start experimenting with steel and stuff and developing that level of understanding. But I was talking about the being able to rip the forge apart and put it back in different configurations, and he's actually Eric, you're ripping the whole plant apart and putting it back in different configurations. How's that project going for you these days?
Man, it's going great. I am the concrete guys are just waiting on me, because this weekend I'm shooting the video of it won't be released this weekend, but I'm shooting the video of me breaking up all the concrete, and I'm gonna have a cool drone shot where I'm just gonna have my drone above me as I'm destroying the concrete, and then I'm gonna have my tripods set up and everything, so it's gonna be a cool cinematic part. It's gonna take me probably 3 hours, but it'll be like a minute and a half of the video.
Are you using those Thor hands, those sponge Thor hands, or are you gonna use a jackhammer?
Oh, I'm using my hands and a big old 10-pound sledge.
Oh man.
Yep.
Is it 4 inches thick, or what's the thickness on the concrete?
I am so happy that it is 4 inches thick and there is not a lick of rebar in it. So
oh boy, good for you.
It'll take me. It will take me probably a few hours to break it all up, but it's going to be more putting it in wheelbarrow, moving it, and to where I can dispose of it or whatever. I might reuse some of it for parts of my yard and whatnot, but I'm just going to break it all up. The guys said that they could possibly pour over it, and I was like, no, I want a good slab. So we're doing I'm pulling that whole entire thing up, where originally I was going to make that concrete slab lower than the slab that the 12x12 sits on, because it sits a little bit higher, and I didn't really think about bringing it all the way up, and those guys were like, no, we'll make it to where it's all one level, so
nice
that there's no drop down. Yeah, and I'm doing 24.5 by 14.5 feet, and it's going to have 6-inch thick slab with 12-inch deep footers all the way around it. Full rebar.
Will you be able to put a power hammer on that?
6 inches, you would probably want it to be closer to like 8-10 inches. Yeah. But I don't plan on putting a power hammer in that shop. If anything, I'll put a press in it, but I don't want to put my neighbors through power hammer noises. Because I'm in the middle of the neighborhood. Yeah, and bomb, 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 bomb. And
as long as you can bang to a beat.
Right. So I'll have a press in there, but I do want to make sure that whenever I'm hammering on the forge or on the anvil, that I've got a good solid base below me. And I'm so happy. I got one of my customers was getting rid of a table, in one of his units. He has a fifth wheel called a toy hauler, where you can actually put like ATVs and side by sides in the back of it. And he traded it in today, and he had this really cool rolling table by Husky, and it's got a crank on it to where you can make it to where it's regular desk height or raise it all the way up to where it's 4 feet tall. And you just basically crank it up, and it's got a butcher's block top that is 1.5 inches thick, and it's got really good heavy duty wheels on it. And I'm gonna put the belt grinders on it, so
cool.
I can actually roll them out of the shop. And I'm doing so I'm gonna have my 2x72 that I have, but I'm getting another 2x72 that I'm gonna make from Brian House.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it from him so that I can support him and whatnot. I was thinking about getting a Mara Braid or one of those, or a Broadbeck, because I really like those grinders. But I already spent over $2,000 on my grinder. If I get another $2,000 grinder, it gets kind of ridiculous.
Well, if you don't have their chassis, you can always support them by buying a lot of their accessories and things that will fit on your grinders and all.
Correct. And luckily, I like Ameribraid as a brand. I like Broadbeck as a brand. I like the fact that Ameribraid supports us as our channel, and it's really cool that they do that. But
their CNC machines are going to work. I've been watching some of their shop videos, and they are turning out parts. I heard them talking about needing more people, and that's really wonderful for our hobby and our industry, for people that have this as a full-time business, to see them as successful as they are.
And their R&D is just next level. It is. They are making the best decisions with their tables, their work rests that can move everywhere, and you can. I saw them do a hollow grind with like a 12-inch contact wheel, and what they did was they turned the grinder in reverse. They put the work rest up underneath the wheel, and you just push the blade up to the wheel and draw it side to side, and you do a full hollow grind, and all you're doing is just applying pressure. You're not having to gauge the angle. You're not having to adjust it. You're not having to do anything. You're just sliding it up to the wheel, and it's underneath the wheel, and you can do full hollow grind and have no fatigue in your arms, none of that, because you're not having to hold anything. Really. It's super cool.
Let's let Joey tell everybody a little bit about Ameribraid.
Hey listeners, let's take a moment today to thank one of our sponsors for today's show, and that sponsor is Ameribraid Grinders. Eric and Kevin over at Ameribraid have sold thousands of these grinders, and they are super nice guys, and their customer service is excellent. I would know. I've been personally using their 2x72 grinder now for 2 years, and it has changed my knife making to a whole new level. So if you're in the market for or looking to upgrade from that 1x30 or 2x42, then give Ameribraid a look. There you'll find they have 3 packages of grinders to offer. They have a Mastery package, Foundations package, and a Get Grinding package, in which all of them come at different price points, so I'm sure you'll find something that'll suit your needs as a knife maker. Also, Ameribraid has a ton of innovative attachments for their grinders, so listeners, you can find out about all of this at www.ameribraid.com. Go give them a look, see what they have to offer today. And now, back to the show.
So, the products they've been coming out with, I've been watching some of their laser etching on their parts, the CNC machines. They're in this big, beautiful building now. I mean, these guys have got a business plan. They're putting it together. But one of the neat things I saw come out, they're fitting a niche market, tomato, that I think that a lot of people are going out and getting the 2x42s, like I evolved to that after the 1x30 phase. And my 2x42 has a sound place in my shop. I don't, whether I'm just gnawing it steel, getting it down to shape or whatever, I do like that one. But when it comes to getting in and starting to make that knife, I want everything that variable speed 2x72 has. But did you see the new one they had come out? I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's got I think it's a 2x48 or just not a 2x42, but it is the coolest little grinder for somebody that wants to get into. They've got that size for their shop. It's got it's got their standard platen that they use for everything, and it's just wonderful.
Dude, but like
I think it's sold out.
Yeah.
I saw their videos lately, or the little post on Facebook. I think it was sold out already.
I remember
really
seeing
quick.
that too.
So and it looks pretty too. It looks really well built, really pretty.
They would have been
yeah.
my choice of grinder if I didn't buy the 2x72 that I had off my brother. That was going to be my grinder, was the Amerigrade, the Amerigrade. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks really nice.
Yep. So
Yeah.
my goal is with that table. One of the things that I don't like about my setup right now is it's very stationary. I really can't sit down and grind blades or do any of that stuff. I want the table to be able to move up and down so that whenever I'm doing the horizontal configuration, I can actually bring it up higher and be more chest height. Or if I'm grinding, I can lower the table down and sit down and grind, or I can stand up and grind, or I can do any of those things. And I just am pumped about this. And the fact that it has those really nice wheels on it, and I can roll it out of the shop and grind outside and create all the dust outside and not have to worry about that all in the inside if I don't want to. But
That's cool.
I'm really, it's going to be a cool configuration. And then as soon as I finish doing my thing, I'll probably have the concrete guys out here later next week, and it's gonna be cool. I'll be able to release the video for that. That'll be one of the Shop Talk Tuesdays following. So it'll be the first video of us starting the build process as opposed to the demo process. And I know everybody's excited about that part of the shop build because they want to see the concrete happen. They want to see the walls go up. They want to see the roof go on. They want to see where I'm going to put my workbenches and how I'm going to set them up and all of that. And I can't wait. I'm so excited about this. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Who's going to be making the Rivers Experience Forge and Knife Works or Rivers Experience sign that's going to go on your new building? You got to have something cool.
I do plan on having a sign done. I've got a few people locally that make really cool stuff like that, and
cool.
I think I'm going to have one made. And I've got 5 knives that I am going to be I've got them almost finished. That's the 5 shop build knives that I'm going to end up selling, and the people who actually buy those, their names are going to be on the bottom of that plaque, that big old thing that I'm going to have on the wall that says The Forge. And because now, of course, I'm not selling those knives for like $150. Those knives are going to be a little bit more pricey, but those will be the people that decide if they want to do that, if they want to contribute to the shop. The best part about it is you get one of these 5 knives, and I'm never going to make the knives again. Those are going to be the only 5 that I do like that, the only profile like that. I won't even make another profile similar to it. It'll be those 5. That's it. And they're really cool. They've got 5 different styles of handle materials on them, and those are the people that are going to, a lot of people do Patreon and do things like that, and I will do Patreon here soon. I'm about to start one.
Oh, good for you. Good.
These are going to be the guys that, or girls, whoever, like 99% of my demographics guys. That's why I keep saying it. That
of.
the people that yeah, right. The nice thing is those guys are going to be on there.
Here we go again.
So I'm excited about
Blade
it.
show.
Hopefully
Blade
the people
show.
that get those are.
I've already had a nice thought, even just sitting here while I drifted off and I listened to what you said, but I'm thinking here, hey man, Christmas is approaching and we've got 6 friends here now. That's even numbers. I think we're all going to have to draw names from a hat. Somebody will be unfortunate enough to get one of my knives, but I think I'm going to draw one of your knives and be kind of happy with it. So y'all be thinking about the the Knives Templar Christmas party, because you're going to have to pony up something good, your best stuff.
Oh, it's a knife swap, huh?
We'll see.
Secret Santa knife swap.
Eric's screen has frozen, so I don't know if he's got this. The screen freezes like, what? But anyway, he'll come back to us here in a second. But yeah, I'm thinking, we're all going to have to go buddy knife swap or something. So, he's left the screen. Eric has left the building. He's off hiding he's off making my knife now.
He's like, get on it.
Let me get right on that. 6 months into this, it's going to be a beauty for Chip. He'll be back on here in a second. Like I said, he'll cut out and he'll go grind out a knife and then come back on the show in 30 seconds. So he's making something good. So while Eric's gone to the little boys' room, we will also take a quick break and let's tell you a little bit about the Rivers experience. Hey guys, what was your source of inspiration when you first decided to make knives? Many go to the books and also some go to the web, but many also head to YouTube for videos. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Eric Rivers from the Rivers Experience as a co-host on the Knives Templars. But you know what? He's also a sponsor, and I tell you, 27,000 followers can't be wrong in following his skilled and educational regular videos that teach the fine arts of making beautiful knives. I know because I'm a subscriber to his channel and I learned at my pace and without making those mistakes by walking in the dark regarding knife making. Be sure and check out his channel, The Rivers Experience, on YouTube or his website at theriversexperience.com. And now back to our show. Matt, you're driving me crazy, man. I've got a beer fridge down in the garage and I'm going to go see that thing here.
This is my last one.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, Eric, we'll you're back here. It's funny. I was talking about the old knife swap we're going to happen. Your face froze in kind of a funny way. And I was like, I hope that it froze and that's not his expression of me saying we're going to make knives for each other. You didn't look like a happy man. You're like, I've got enough to do in my life. No, it looked more unhappy than that look right there. There was no smile. So, but yeah, so it's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing your shop come together and put a nice brand out there on your building, and it's really encouraging to see how you're going and growing with that. So Odysseer, so what's on the table for you next, man? I mean, you've done some different things here or there. What are you looking at putting out next? You've got a distinct style, sir.
Yeah.
Beautiful work.
Let me say you said beautiful. Let me stop you. Beautiful work is a wonderful statement, but it's almost an understatement because the reproducibility in what he does from knife to knife drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm. Make a kukri.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Making one of those the kukri with the style of handles that I make.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really pretty.
Your fit and finish on a kukri would be epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was. What do you think about the W2 and going for a differential heat treat with a aggressive hamon kind of deal going on? Yeah. I have to get my hands on some W2 here shortly. You're
still using New Jersey steel bearing. Is that where you get most of your steel?
Yeah. I mean, it's a day away from me.
Yeah, quick, easy delivery. Their supplies are pretty. Their supplies are pretty good. If you're up in, I've ordered from them a few times and it always came very quickly. I've gone to using Pops just because of the our relationship and just the fact that they just seem to have everything. They're a one-stop shop. But before that, I was using Texas Knife Supply and New Jersey Steel Bearing, and Bearing used to usually have a really good supply and real quick delivery.
Yeah. So one thing that I've learned, right? Because for me, this is a learning experience more than anything. I do get to sell most of my knives. The last one that I made, I sold it for a friend of mine. He asked me to put his name on the other side. But talking about the learning experience, man, I've been learning how to use this 52100. It's a pain, to be honest with you. It's I don't think I'm gonna be using 52100 moving forward. It's very good wear resistance and everything, but it warps like nobody's business. I haven't used a steel that warps like that. This last knife that I made that I showed you guys on the video, picked up a warp. The last 2 kitchen knives that I made out of 52100 picked up a big bed warp, and something that I haven't experienced with the 80CRV2.
Well, have you decided? Did you get the warp out of it while you were doing the tempering, or do you have like a quench press, or how'd you get the warp out of it?
Sometimes I'll clamp it and put it in the oven for the tempering. But if I'm doing, I tried a different technique with that little hammer. I explained it before.
Oh, yeah.
Where you start hitting inside of the bowl on the thickest part of the blade, and that will create little indentations and actually push the steel back into shape, straight. And if you're not careful, you can actually warp or bend it the opposite way. So it's a very neat technique that I picked up. It's not hard to get the warps out. It's just that it's
annoying, an extra step,
pain that you have to do later.
Yeah. I solved that when I built that little Harbor Freight parts and steel and all, and built that little quench vise. And as soon as I quench them, they go right in there, and I leave them in there, and I set a timer for 6 minutes because somebody on YouTube said 6 minutes. And I cool it down with a little bit of air slowly, and I have not had a knife come out bowed at all since then.
Well,
and when I say bowed, I'm talking about micro bows. They've just come out perfectly flat.
Yeah. No, the thing too is that if you make
that
these
won't
small
work with
little knives,
his style of blades.
True. I didn't think about that.
That's the only downside of that.
Yeah. If you're working with short blades, I haven't had any warpage into very short blades, 3-4 inch blade. But when I'm talking my knives that I make out of 10-inch blade, 8.5, 10-inch blade, it's out of 52100,
fully ground.
Yeah, full grind.
Yeah. Well, we do know Predator hasn't been back to Earth since you started making knives. I haven't seen any.
Well, looking for one of these days. You never know. So yeah. So I'll be moving forward with something. I haven't a clue yet. As I said, my mind is not fully focused.
Understood.
Been through a couple of things, so I will start something on Sunday.
Any decent handle materials you're looking at?
I have one piece of elk antler that I want to use. I got a couple of stabilized blocks, and I still have that giraffe bone.
I was going to say something about that.
I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it.
Well, let me tell you guys this. I have my cousin is Hawaiian, and I just sent him a knife today, as a matter of fact, and because he sent me 40 pounds of koa, which is a beautiful beautiful Hawaiian wood. So if you guys remind me, I've got these gigantic blocks, and if you remind me or you're interested, when I get it sawed down, I'll send you either a piece big enough to do a hidden tang or some scale size.
Do they need to be stabilized or not?
They're pretty hard. I don't know. Eric can probably answer that better than me. But
it's going to be like equivalent to like a whinge or something like that, where you don't
ebony?
Technically. Oh no, I don't think it's exactly ebony style.
Yeah, it's pretty
but
hard.
If I'm right, it does have a little bit of the oil to it, whatnot. But it's going to be harder than like a.
Balsa.
Of course, it's going to be harder than like a zebra. It's going to be harder than
everything's harder than balsa.
But still, for me, if I have the ability to buy a stabilized wood, I would buy stabilized wood over anything else because the expanding and contracting of non-stabilized woods is annoying because you'll slowly start to feel the edge of your spine.
True.
You know, on your tang and stuff like that. It's not as bad on a hidden tang, but or except for where your pin is, because it can shrink around your pin area.
It is bad.
Yeah,
it is bad.
And
I tell you, I use some ebony for a kitchen, and a carry knife that I still have, and on the guard handle connection, you know, the ebony shrunk. I don't know, 1/10 of a millimeter there, and I can feel the little bump, that little section. It's annoying, man. I hate it.
See that feeling,
especially on my kitchen
that
knife.
feeling doesn't necessarily bother me because it just. But see, I'm more of a old school. I like the way knives were made 1,000 years ago kind of guy, and I have those little imperfections and things like that show up. Don't bother me. But if you want some of that wood and you've got a pressure cooker at the house and you want to stabilize it or send it off to someone like, I'm sure Sarah could stabilize some wood for you or somebody. Matter of fact, we'll mention Sarah right now.
As knife makers, we all know the importance of quality handle material. Something that's both tough yet beautiful will increase the value of your knives and allow you to build something that your customers will love. When it comes to the handle material for my knives, I choose Swikowski scales. Run by Sarah Halpane and her mentor Alex Swikowski, they have a combined 20 years experience making handles and knives. They offer stabilized burls, exotic hardwoods, vintage micartas, and some of the best segmented scales in the business. Find them on Instagram at Swikowski Scales or on their website, swikowskiscales.com. That's SWIECZKOWSKI scales.com.
So, you know, you can certainly buy scales, pre-made, beautiful scales from Sarah over at Sikowski Scales. But, you know, if you guys want a piece of that, I'll be happy to cut you a chunk of it and share it with you. And you can do what you with it. That's cool.
You could do the Christmas
Well,
giveaway.
let me tell you right now, my favorite blocks are 2 inches wide, 5 inches long, inch thick. So hopefully I don't take too much of your wood.
yeah, that's a good block
But,
size though.
yeah.
Here, let me find a drum roll.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, yeah. Because of the shape of my handle.
yeah,
Like,
I've got plenty of wood.
you know,
I got
like I'm showing, I have to have that 2 inch wide block, otherwise I can't do the just like that.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I was saying what you're holding up there in the size, the dimension. No, that wouldn't be a problem at all, and I wouldn't offer it up. You guys are good friends, and what I have is yours, and what you have is mine. Matt,
Oh, boy.
even
Oh, yeah.
heat, Matt, even heat, Matt. With
So-
free delivery to Alabama. No, just kidding. But yeah, if you want a piece, just throw it in the mail. Let me know. Put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So probably gonna be working on again, right? Like Eric just said, I'm gonna look into making a cookery soon. Maybe a couple of kitchen knives. You know, I need to start working again
You do.
just to
You
get
do.
my.
The world needs that, man. You make some beautiful, beautiful stuff, and I tell you what, long after
Appreciate it.
your children's children or grandparents, those knives will still be floating around here on Earth, and nobody will know what the world of Pinto is. But you know, if they passed on to other families, but the ones that are in your families, those will be treasured objects 200, 300, 400 years from now. Who knows? That's the cool thing about knives.
Hey, who knows?
Yeah. But you know, my side, I guess what I've got coming up is I'm getting tired of saying the word flesher. I've been holding off on this whole show, but I guess I'll talk about it briefly. I turned out another one today. I've got 2 more in the shop hanging that are hardened, and I'm going to work on those this weekend. And I found out the respite to be able to make these things is for every 2 knives, make something different. So I've got something hidden that I have cut out about 4 weeks ago, and it's sitting in a can of oil right now because I just want it pristine when I pull it back out of there. And it's kind of a unique design for me. I think it's one that it's just going to be a flat grind. I may do do a little grinding on the top edge because I love to see what Matt the knives that you're putting out. I'm going to get brave enough to go grinding in on the top and the bottom of the knife, and put that false edge up there. And I've got some burlap micarta and some ironwood and some brass, and I'm going to try and turn out something that I'm extremely proud of, and something I probably will not sell. Something I'll hand down to my grandson or something someday. Yeah. But
next time we're going to see you using some Kerinite, huh?
and some some Pintos sauce. But
highly recommended, though.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then I'll go back in. I've got 6 or 7 more of those to make. But the one I just made, and this is where it's really humbling because, I put out this knife. I like to post pictures of them during the making process. That's interesting for me. And you guys do this too. Here's this knife being made along the way, and you get to see how it comes together intricately. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. When I'm done and I look at it, I can see all of the corrections that I made or the little things I wasn't able to get out of it, but nobody else ever sees. And I'm sure you see that in every one of the knives you make. And but this last one I made, it wasn't particularly special to me. It was one of the nicer ones, but it didn't just grab me. And I had people from Denmark, Norway, Poland, and Romania requesting these knives, and some of these people were knife makers. And then in the United States, I had people requesting them as well. And Chris had said that he had this breakthrough moment when he won the the Lone Star Makers designation. Certainly, I'm not good enough to make that kind of win that type of award. But you kind of realize that when there's people that are knife makers and other people out there in the world saying, hey, that is really cool, I would like one of those.
Yes.
It made me feel like, man, I really started to break through. So I'm gonna be continuing to hammer some of those out, but I do look forward to retiring them to maybe 1 or 2 a year. And maybe more, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the next batch I make. I'll be using that new Majestic Forge and being able to give you some feedback on that next time. So, other than that, I'm like I said, looking at maybe making some shirts or something for our trip to Blade Show, and we don't all have to go out looking like twins, but we'll have something to remember the days we were there if we want one.
Yeah, you get the shirts, I'll get one.
All right, and representing Knives Templar. Actually, what I want to do is do the Knives Templar logo, put a QR code on it, and also be able to put our individual makers marks on the or brands on the shirts as well. So we'll look like a bunch of bowling team members or something. I don't know, but want to do something a little bit nice. So that's kind of what I've got going on. And what about you, Matt? What's going on in Colorado?
Oh shoot!
First of all, your lion logo. How did you come up with that? I think I know the story, but how did you come up with that logo?
Well, we had like 4 others that we were kind of go through with the lion face and look kind of Disney, and Cricket had the baseline little lion profile. It's like everybody can use it, and like I want that.
And then you said something about changing it, and I was like, that lion defines you now. Once you've used it.
Yeah, it's done, yeah.
Yeah, people say, I can't change mine. Everybody says, is that a fat man walking through the woods? Is that you? And I'm like, no, it's a Bigfoot. but the lion logo just really defines your blade. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're stuck.
No, I like it. My wife, she come up with she was playing with some fonts and stuff and was doing some Jenga-ing and putting stuff in places with the LPF, and she put it in there. I'm like, wow, that looks really good. So we're gonna run with that. That'll be like the lettering part of the logo, and then the lion will just be like a standalone lion, type of thing. So if I did like shirts or whatever, I do the LPF, like the pin.
Yeah.
Because I got $500 of custom pins. So I might as well just get custom pins, right? So I'm gonna have them do a lion logo and the lettering.
Yeah.
And we're looking at shirts for like doing the LPF and then the lion on the back and, stuff like that. We're just kind of spitballing and flirting with the idea of it all.
Yeah, but that stuff's really cool because that really adds to your brand, and it's another creative avenue where it just makes you feel like, hey, look where I've brought this to so far. I will tell you, with that beautiful
like,
leather work you're doing, there's a guy that I know in Hong Kong that'll put you out a leather stamp for $100. The one the one I use. It's $100. It arrives in about 21 days, and it's a nice big brass stamp, and he will hook you up. And that on your leather work, however you want to brand it, is something else. Matter of fact, it looks like you're already artistic, but if you need some help on putting together a logo or anything, I've got some graphic software that I use for that kind of stuff. Just let me know.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, for sure.
I love
you got to keep making leather
on the dagger.
Oh yeah.
Where you put it, it was just like it's crawling across
walking on it, right?
It's walking across this stuff. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that look. How you put it on there.
And I heard him mention on another podcast about how, and I do enjoy knife making podcast. All of them are great, but they were saying that, hey, this guy went with the big pen. He didn't go with the little pen. He went with the big pen. So I thought that was pretty cool. Brave.
I can't remember if that was the right pin size that I selected or not. I'm not sure, but no biggie. It was supposed to be
let me just clarify that we are there's a bunch of great knife making podcasts out here, but we are the podcast that's making knife making great again.
Making knife making great again.
We'll have to get some red hats made. So you'll be making shirts and pins, and what's on your knife making table these days?
Right now, well, I have the one right here, which obviously the viewers can see, you guys can see, that I'm working on. I kind of stopped and hit the brakes.
You got a hamon in that?
I got a hamon hidden in there. Yeah, sorry.
Gotcha.
I like the hamon.
It looks good.
This is just lemon juice.
Did you steal some of the kids' Play-Doh? No, lemon juice.
Lemon juice. I just lemon juiced it and just went slow with it. But it has like some of that ghosting. I think Eric had it one of his. Where he had some of the the heat treat kind of went higher than where your lines were, and it did like a smoky kind of shadowing effect. So I'm thinking about going back and sanding it back out.
I really like it. Yeah.
I don't know yet, but that's where I'm at with that. But I got 2 more sheaths I got to make after I finish these 2. And then that kind of clears me out to where I'm back to like being creative again. So,
do you have Instagram or a website?
I do have Instagram.
You do not. You have a website at this point?
I do not have a website.
How about a Facebook page?
I have a Facebook page.
For your knives?
Not for my knives.
No, okay,
I'm not big pants. I'm not. Yeah.
No, we're not big pants either, but we like to wear them sometimes. Hey, listen, make sure that you get those to me so I can get you in the show notes so people can go out and see more of what you're doing. We want.
And if you're really wanting to see what he's doing, go to just the TRE workshop on Facebook, and you can see all of the stuff that he does because he posts stuff on there too.
I love the workshop. So. These all the people on the workshop are my garage buddies. Yeah. That's how I look at it.
You get to see a lot of makers there, man. It was a good thing that you did when you put that group together.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, before we go there, let's talk a little bit about our favorite sanding belts right now.
Hey listeners, let's take a moment today to thank one of our sponsors for today's show, and that sponsor is Ameribraid Grinders. Eric and Kevin over at Ameribraid have sold thousands of these grinders, and they are super nice guys, and their customer service is excellent. I would know. I've been personally using their 2x72 grinder now for 2 years, and it has changed my knife making to a whole new level. So if you're in the market for or looking to upgrade from that 1x30 or 2x42, then give Ameribraid a look. There you'll find they have 3 packages of grinders to offer. They have a mastery package, a foundations package, and a get grinding package, in which all of them come at different price points. So I'm sure you'll find something that'll suit your needs as a knife maker. Also, Ameribraid has a ton of innovative attachments for their grinders. So listeners, you can find out about all of this at www.ameribraid.com. Go give them a look, see what they have to offer today. And now, back to the show.
So y'all be sure and go out and support Phoenix. They make some of the finest belts out on the market. And but one thing I wanted to point out about them being the best, one of the best Facebook groups out there is the Rivers Experience. And we had a milestone we hit this week. We hit 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 members to that group. And just like everything else, once it hits a certain level, it just takes off. And the momentum that's there right now, I've been a member for some time, and I tell you what, the site has really come to life as far as people interacting.
Yeah, man. I really like it.
It's great.
I know I found your group by accident, by the way. I wasn't really looking for a group to join, but when I saw, okay, so it's that dude from YouTube.
The dude from YouTube.
Let me request to join the group and see what happens. And then when I got there, I saw, the people posting, and then I started posting and got really well received. And then Chip, I think that's where you got to, stalking us and stuff. And got this group together with Chris and Joey. And thank you for putting that group together, man. It was a good thing.
Oh yeah, it's been wonderful. What are you thinking about all this, Eric?
My original goal with that group was I was gonna make one, and you know how everything evolves. I was gonna make a group so that of course I could show off what I do and actually be able to communicate with people that doesn't have to. That they don't have to email me, or they don't have to message me on Instagram or anything like that. I wanted to if they wanted to ask questions, they could post a picture of what they're working on and then get a few different opinions. And my goal was to bring on people that were like me, so that whenever we got to a certain point, if someone said, hey, this is what I'm working on in the shop, what do y'all think about this? It wasn't a bunch of people, I like the Bladesmith for Beginners group on Facebook, but if you post something that they don't think it's beginner quality, you get a bunch of people saying, what are you doing here? And, it can go negative real quick. If you post something that's too beginner, it could go negative. So I wanted to create a space that was just a good group of people that thought like me and wanted to elevate people, bring people up. It's not one of those things where it's everybody gets a participation trophy. We will tell you if you did something that wasn't not the correct way, but will help educate you to get you going in the right direction, and it'll be a positive experience and not a dang, this moron's just started and he sucks at what he's doing. I wanted it to be, being able to communicate, post your stuff, be proud of what you're doing, and have people be proud to be, with you as you, continue your journey as a knife maker. And it's going really well. We don't have any negative people. If you post something, it's positive, and people are happy to see it, and they if there's something that you think that you might change, they'll tell you, hey, you could change this here, you can move this here, you can adjust this here, or maybe you should try this style of pins or this style of wood. And then we also just talk about things. I didn't even know that the Ameribraid was coming out with that grinder, and someone's like, hey, have y'all seen this? And we just started talking about it. It doesn't have to be about knife making. If somebody makes an oven, if someone makes a grinder, if someone makes any of those things, post those and let's see it, so we can talk about it and have one
or a steak
I'm
that
happy
you cut
about it.
with
It
a
was a cool
knife.
milestone.
We got to watch you cut
Stuff
27
like
steaks with that one knife you made. It was like a new paper plate, a clean paper plate, and a new piece of meat every night at Matt's house.
And I got to post me cutting some picanha.
But let me tell you, we have seen so many people that their very first knives, we all made, I melted my first knife. Their very first knife, it looks like a first knife with whatever tools they had. And just that encouragement, their second knife grew by 120%. And then after that, by their on their third or fourth knife, you're like, this person really gets it. And even if it isn't something that totally appeals to you, you can still appreciate the fact that look what this person has done with their time. And they start to learn a little bit about handle balance and, well, knife balance, but handle length, the different types of shapes, and the different steels and stuff. And all of a sudden they just bloom. And one thing, when I was in the fishing lure community, everybody was so competitive, and it was kind of in the part of the internet when it was developing where people, well, I mean, it's worse today. I mean, you go on certain parts of Facebook and it's just constant arguing. But in social media back then, it was just very common that people just weren't very kind to each other because we were all in this new kindergarten class called the internet. And
it still is.
It is if you let it. And, like I said, the Rivers experience doesn't let that happen. But the thing is that positive reinforcement and everything that's on there, we're seeing people develop. And I don't care. There's too many people in the world that, we haven't run out of people needing knives. The market is so large. The people at the top are so small a number. And they're like the NASCAR drivers or the NBA or the NFL. I mean, they're the top of the top, the masters, and the excellent journeymen. But there's still room for other people that are growing, and we're seeing people. If you want to look at it as a pyramid, and the best being at the top, we're seeing that the bottom of that pyramid expand. Even in the 9-10 months I've been on your site, Eric, to just watching. Just good people come out expressing the artistic and their engineering knowledge to be able to make something that's beautiful, and that growth is wonderful. A really cool thing to be a part of this community, because I see that more so than many other things, the competition isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you guys, you and Matt just came out of a competition. Chris just won a competition at a show, and people are congratulating each other. Chris even said, some guy said, I couldn't vote for my own knife. I had to vote for yours. I liked it better. So yeah, it's a really good community we belong to.
For sure.
So I have to tell the truth that while I do like to vision Chris and Joey together at the BPS telethon, playing their Cajun music to raise funds for the Butt Pucker Syndrome group, but they are actually Chris had to pull out last minute on us today, and he says he hates it and he'll be with us next time, and he's always a lot of fun. And our buddy Joey is taking this weekend to make his wife and the mother of his children feel very special, like we all are going to this weekend. They got started on a little early journey this week, so good for them. So with all that being said, we've all got a mother. You're likely married to a mother, and some of you have mothers from other brothers, and that have meant something in your life. Go out and
mother lover.
Yes, you are. Go out and be nice this weekend. Hey, and listen, guys, I think that we have made it through another episode. Episode 8, lucky number 8. They say if you get to episode 8, you'll get to episode 500. So we're only 92 episodes from having our celebratory 100th episode, and we hope you're all there with us. For now, we're glad that you listened to all of us on this episode of the Knives Templars. Have a blessed day. Bye.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
All right, the after show. So when we're going to keep talking. I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop recording, but we'll stay on here. Eric, you're going to have probably 3 recordings. So before you get off, we need to make sure that all 3 of those are headed up, or I'll contact